We are always managing our anger to suit our purpose, but we don't leave it in its natural state. What do? Most of the time, we repress it. But our anger doesn't agree with that. Just to compare, what would happen if we inhaled, let's say we take 5 short inhalations. At the point that we cannot inhale any longer, we will have to exhale. At one point, our body physically will not be able to hold the breath in any longer. The more we try to hold it in, the more pressure builds up. And what happens in the end? We just burst that air out. Physical limitations, physical capacities is the same as emotional. Because we don't let the natural way take course, which is to express our anger. The healthy thing, the healthy way is to express our anger. But we don't. We repress it over and over and over. It's no different than holding our breath in. And just like the breath, the inhales we've taken in, there is no more room in the lungs, and at one point there is no more room in our emotions. And at some point, our emotional body, our emotional state just can't take it in anymore. And it bursts out. It explodes. And it usually happens at the wrong time and usually to the wrong person. Sadness over the long term will turn into anger. And anger is a lot more difficult to deal with than the sadness. So what do? What can we do when all the sadness turns into anger? How to deal with this anger that has laid down deep roots into our sadness. Most of the time, it feels like there's no way out. Who's gonna help us? How do we get out of something that we don't exactly know how we got into? How did this anger get here? Why weren't we able to deal with our sadness, do things to clear our sadness before it turned into anger? Because now we have both sadness and anger. It's like a double-edged sword, cutting on both ends. How to approach it? How to hold it without getting cut, without bleeding? There are days that we ask ourselves, why did I get angry so quickly? Why do I have to be right about everything? Why does being right, me being right about things, more important than anything? Where is the compassion? And what joy is there by being right? Is it a cause for celebration? Is it? Let's think about it. You are always right, Mr. Right. And you're like a policeman, like a militia, looking out for all the wrongdoers. And what sort of a demeanor, what sort of an inside what sort of an internal habitat is that? What is it going to produce? Constantly on the lookout? Who's done wrong? What they have done? Judging what they have done? And what is it going to produce internally? It's going to have our glands, our hormones produce these nasty secretions. I guess cortisol is a famous one that's burning up everyone. And what does constant judgment at every turn, at every corner, what does it bring? What does it breed? It breeds anger. A lot of dirt. There's a big difference between earth. They tell us to walk barefoot on earth today. Big difference between earth and dirt. Even if we have to judge, sometimes we have to. Even if we have to be right, let's not just be right. Let us not judge only. There's this judge in Providence. He's on YouTube. Such a sweet guy. And everybody's following him. He's doing his job. He's doing his duty. He does what he needs to do. But he does it with compassion. He does it with mercy. Like the earth. Not with anger. He does a clean job. Doesn't allow any dirt in his courtroom so that people need to clean up after him. He leaves a beautiful path. Each of us, in our limited time on this earth, will leave a path behind us. Let it be a clean one. That there is very little dirt, if any, or that can be cleaned easily without scrubbing, without pain, without misery, without suffering. That's all we got. What we leave in our wake, what we leave behind us. Let's all work on our dirt that nobody else has to.